I wanted to add one last thing to Lesson 20, and it's about a story that comes from the mythical legends of that Homer, the author was Homer, wrote, and it was in the story of the Odyssey. And this one really hit me because I can relate it to the Bible. Well, the story goes, and of course, you run into all kinds of monsters like the Cyclops and Poseidon and all these weird things that happen throughout the story. But they have this guy, Odysseus, and Odysseus decides that he is captain of the ship, and he wants his ship to go through this certain area where they said, oh, you shouldn't go through this area because there are these weird things that happen there. These, they call them the Sirens, these women's voices, beautiful voices, almost like mermaids, draw them to the cliffs. And then what happens? They crash. They crash on the cliffs. And they said, well, don't go that way because you'll hear the song of the sirens. Well, Odysseus decides, well, he must do something. So he decides to plug the ears, put beeswax in all of the ears of all of his crew. And then he decides to have them tie him up so that he could still hear the song of the sirens. So, because what happens is that they all kind of go crazy, and then they all row right towards the cliffs because they want to hear the song, and then they crash. So he does this. He puts the beeswax in there so they can't, in their ears so that they can't hear. And as they're rowing, they see all these monsters. The crew can't hear, but they think they see like monsters. And then Odysseus, all he sees is these beautiful women singing these beautiful songs to lure him there. And he's very, very interested. And he tries and he breaks through, but they end up almost crashing. Well, they do not really understand what this song of the sirens is. But one day, Odysseus, years later, decides to go back to the same place. Well, he thinks, how is he going to do this? Because the song of the sirens almost drove him crazy. And he thinks, how can we get through this area? So he was mesmerized by it, but as he was sitting there, and he heard some songs, and he heard these songs that were singing, and this guy came over with this violin, and he started singing these songs that were drowning out all the other songs. And the song was so beautiful, and he thought, that's it. I'll bring this guy with the violin with me, and he'll sing the songs, and the songs be so beautiful that they'll drown out the song of the sirens. Well, guess what happened? The song did. When he got to that point, he had the music playing, and the music was so beautiful that they could not even hear the songs of the sirens, and they floated right through past the cliffs without ever having any problems. So, what's this mean? Well, I take it this way. You see, there's a lot of other songs in this world that lure us in, and we think, oh, we really like that. Oh, that's nice. And the world tries to grab those things and put them in our mind. And the song of the sirens are all over the place, because the song of the sirens is how the world wants to grab us in and just mesmerize us. And we think, oh, maybe that's right. But because we have Jesus in our life, there's another song. And the song is much better than the song of the sirens. It's the sweet song of salvation. And Jesus, in his sweet song of salvation, covers all the songs of the world and all the things of the world. And the things of the world become pretty dim compared to the beauty and the wonder of the great, sweet, sweet, sweet song of salvation that we can sing in our lives. So when we hear the song of the sirens drawing us to the world, we can look to Jesus and pray and say, Lord, I want to hear your song again. And then we hear it, the gospel, singing in our ear. And the sweet song of salvation covers any songs that the world can sing and draw us to them. Instead, we're drawn to the high calling of the Lord Jesus Christ. So that's one Greek myth that I wanted to describe. The rest of the Greek myths are kind of crazy, but the thing is, we can turn everything around for the glory of God, even the Song of the Sirens.